Welcome to your Tuesday. Promises kept. We're back. Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne, and this happens to be a broadcast that we name Things You Might Not Have Heard because these are some news stories that you may not have heard. Probably not if you watch mainstream media most of the time, because a lot of things are siloed. There aren't very many, let's say, fair and balanced, even if it is a term, fair and balanced news sources. Most of them have some sort of slant. Most of them have some sort of agenda. Most of them trying to stay onto the narrative. We do the same, except we pull from all the news sources out there, all the crazy ones, all the sane ones, all the ones that are really making you scratch your head. And we provide for you a chance to tell us what stories are actually most conversational. You tell us what stories actually make sense, and we put them up here. And today we have a theme that's mostly men, mostly famous men, and some famous women behaving really, really weird and badly. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Stop by our main website at thisisaconversationproject.com for more details about things you might have heard, other things about a conversation project, and other projects on the way from More Better Media LLC. We're going to have for you, I think, 11 news stories in the kitty, plus some birthdays and some facts going on as well. And, of course, advertisements, because that's how we do things around here. Let's get into the news stories. First off with this one. Now, these are not in any particular order, but some of them I'll make note of how high they reached out. And we'll explain how high they got and how they got a chance to be picked for this morning in our newscast. This one, I believe, was the second highest rated story. And this one had a whole half a day to go through. Yesterday afternoon, conviction of Adnan Syed in serial podcast cases overturned. Judge orders him released. This is a case that was variously obscure, but made a very good story. And that story became the Serial podcast some many years ago at this point. Serial becoming the spark that got people into the podcasting genre, mostly because it was just a new way to do Dateline and 48 hours type material, more true crime stuff in a sense, on an audio version where it was literally serialized in a story version. Serial came back with a second season on a second sort of murder. The staff didn't quite connect as it did the first time. It wasn't so much lightning in the bottle, but it did spark a whole slew of other podcasts that were true crime based. There's plenty of true crime out there, and plenty of people who want to get in on the case on that one. Some of them fiction, some of them real, but they basically went on that genre. Now, because of what was uncovered in the investigation for this, real journalism was done for the original Serial podcast and for all of them, if you will. It brought up to light some details on this case that showed that Adnan Syed actually was innocent of the crime. Go back and read the link and see what goes on with this. And as you go deep into what happens when other people try to make a commercial success or NPR success out of something, and it turns out it does good for the people or the person here particularly. Let's move on to the next story, which is New York one meteorologist Eric Adam, not confused with that other guy, terminated over adult cam website pics. This was the top story, and we posted this very early yesterday. This one just grew and grew and grew all day long. It's weird because, well, not weird because we have a lot of people with camera stuff, and we had a story yesterday about the cop in Detroit who was a rookie that when they found out that she had the OnlyFans account, opened up an investigation, and she basically just resigned for not dealing with it. This is basically the same thing. A public face, a literally public face, doing things out of the public that he thought he should have known better about it. He said it so himself. I'm going to see if I can pull from Deadline the quotes that he gave from what happened. Here's him saying what happened with this one. I am taking this opportunity to share my truth rather than let others control the narrative of my life. Despite being a public figure and being on television in the biggest market in the country in front of millions of people 5 days a week for more than a decade and a half, I secretly appeared on an adult webcam website. On this site, I acted out my compulsive behaviors while at home by performing on camera for other men. It was 100% consensual on both of our parts. I wasn't paid for this, and it was absurd of me to think it would keep this private. Nonetheless, my employer found out and I was suspended and then terminated. And then termination. That's not exactly the best grammar in his sense, but it's basically right there. So, here's the thing about the cam stuff. You are a private citizen. You can do whatever you want to in your home. You have the rights to do these things in these semi-public forums. But when you get caught, and in most cases people find out because it's the internet, and they do, there's always hell to pay. It's hard to rationalize what you're doing on this side, especially on things like that. We know about the Jeffrey Toobin thing, which was plain on just ridiculousness. We know about, let's say, the case we had yesterday where the police officer had a private OnlyFans site and it was found out and she did resign from there. We see things happen here. I am not I'm not the prude police. I don't care what freaky things you do, but you have to remember, people with public lives and public facing lives have to remember they can't get away scot-free on these things. They're not anonymous. People care. And if anything, people care to take them down a peg, which is essentially what happened with Eric Adam, not confused with the other guy in New York with a similar name. That's a totally different thing. Adam Levine allegedly cheated on his wife, tried to name be after Mistress. This was a huge story posted all over the Twitter early, and then real actual write-ups came up. Because of the nature of the Conversation Project, because of the nature of how we do things tonight of her, we just kind of post things in tandem to get things going. This story was not posted onto the feeds until about 2:50 a.m. Central Time. Now, first time I heard about this was on Twitter, somewhere in the early middle afternoon. But this is something that just got kind of washed in other things, and in the feeding of the beast for the overnight stuff. It didn't get posted to 2:50 Central Time, and this was the third highest engaged story. Only after being posted so late in the game, early in the morning, this morning, literally. Adam Levine, you can check out the links all over the place. Check out your social media for going on. And most of it was just kind of Twitter talk, and most parts just kind of back and forth before it got written up into stories. Adam Levine basically had an affair, so a woman was not his wife, and those things happen, and that was a kind of big deal. What got really, really weird was that when his wife was pregnant, he was pushing to have their baby to be named after his actual mistress. He was trying to throw it out there. It's weirdness beyond any fact. People who may love Adam Levine may find a reason not to. People who hate Adam Levine have more reason not to. This is a fact that you have to kind of go into the story and see how you feel about this one. We have other stories today about how you feel about people and what they're doing. But this is one where it's obviously not a bad look, although some people will just say, oh, well, sometimes people fall out of love. Some people need other attention. But then on the kicker, trying to secretly name your baby after your secret affair, that's never cool on any level. Let's move on to this one. Doc Rivers reportedly hacked amid spicy Twitter liking spree. This is a story that I first heard about early in the weekend, literally the weekend, where Doc Rivers was essentially on Twitter liking a lot of porn stuff. And then it turned into Doc Rivers' Twitter was hacked, and that's why I was there. He didn't know what was going on. And it turned to basically a meme-ish weekend. Come Monday, someone actually published a story on it that was worthy of a headline to put in there. And you guys like the spicy stuff that was in there because you guys like the spicy stuff. You guys love the spicy stuff. Doc Rivers claims he was hacked. I'll say again. He has a history of clicking on the wrong things, liking the wrong things. And to be fair, when you're just scrolling through Twitter, Twitter tends to send you things that the algorithm loves. And if he has sports fitness models on his Twitter, he's going to get sports fitness models and things that make it a little more porny on his feed. And if you're just mindlessly scrolling, you're probably going to hit a couple porn stuff. Or you can get hacked and get a lot of stuff picked up because you're Doc Rivers. Here's a scandal that you may not have thought that you really needed to know about, but trust me, you need more of this one. Magnus Carlson resigns after one move in chess rematch with Hans Niemann. This is a big friggin' deal in chess, and you could not fathom. I could not wrap my head around just how big this thing was. So these two people who are, powerhouses in the chess world, Magnus Carlsen and Hans Niemann, had a match a while back. Niemann won. They had a rematch a few days ago. Magnus opened up his computer. It was online for people to see on broadcasts. This is a big deal. He opened his computer, made one move, resigned, and logged off. Done. Didn't play more than one actual move and then was done and had not been heard from since. This is freaking bonkers for in the chess world. People are going nuts over this story right here. We have a kind of a tight chess community here in Arkansas, Little Rock, and so you don't see a lot of people chatting it up. But this is something that in those circles, because people aspire to be higher ranks, that even the smaller folks are talking about this. This is something I expect the kiddie chess club that my daughter goes to every Tuesday, that the teacher there will talk about that, because they teach how chess is a gentlewoman's game and how the rules they take everything. This is definitely a punk move by Magnus Carlson, and we will see what comes about. Or we won't, because the story will probably get buried by other things, people blowing up stuff and people shooting people, because that's what we do here in the States. But this is a big freaking deal in the chess world, and it might turn into a big freaking deal in your world as you get sucked into this rabbit hole of a story. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. Michele mocks conspiracy theories she can't read in a new TikTok. And again, Michele mocks conspiracy theories she can't read in a new TikTok. Had some editing issues there. Maybe I can't read. I don't know. But Michele mocked the conspiracy theory that she can't read in a new TikTok. Check out the link for the story on this one. Now, we give Michele a lot of grief, and I believe she earned it. But like we said, we don't wish ill will to her. She's back on the road or back in Broadway for Funny Girl. We don't wish that she is actually, physically harmed. We don't want her, mocked for, not doing things that are mean to other people, just in general. Now, people mocking her for saying she can't read, which probably isn't true. I'm going to go with probably on that one, is something that's going on there. But she apparently is going on the offensive and claiming her story and claiming her truth by basically poking fun at her for thinking she doesn't have the ability to read words. You can check out more of that online yourself. Post Malone suffers bruised ribs after falling through a hole on stage while performing. I just saw a video on this one about a half hour ago. It looked painful. He's on the stage. They're doing season change and all that good stuff. And then all of a sudden he just goes, bam. And he's writhing in pain and screaming because he fell hard in the middle of the set. Found out Tim McGraw fell into the crowd the other day during a concert as well. Not sure what's going on with all these performers not having good balance on these teeny tiny stages. Maybe it's the teeny tiny stages that are the fault. But Post Malone had said yesterday, this fall happened over the weekend. He said yesterday, the tour shall go on because he's got to make money and people want to see him. That's what's going to happen. He's just got to deal with a little bit of soreness. I'm not sure about the Tim McGraw action. He basically just fell on top of some crowd members and they pushed him back up. They thought maybe he wanted to go crowd surfing, and all of a sudden they're like, no, dude, I got to get back up there. So not sure what the deal is with performers falling off stages. Hopefully it's not a trend. Hopefully you'll see it into that very soon. Eli Manning crashes Penn State tryout disguise as walk-on. This is a funny little bit. There's video of Eli Manning, who has no actual eligibility left for college, going to the Penn State tryouts as a walk-on recruit with a wig and a fake nose and doing all this stuff like that. Check it out. It's going to get some fun in your day, especially on a football weekend when your team may not have done as well as you thought it did, both in college and the pros. It's only 2 weeks in the pros, so it's not a lot to see, but some things were spectacular. Some things were pretty heartbreaking. And if you got heartbroken, this might be one that might make you feel better. Pat McAfee Show plagued by technical problems after finally making move to new FanDuel Igloo Thunder Dome studio. How is that for a whole bunch of sponsors? FanDuel and Igloo and a Thunderdome. We don't need the hero. All we want is a studio that works. Pat McAfee, not so much ceremoniously, but basically tossed from the Mad Dog radio channel on XM, still on the radio, still syndicated in places, so still out there, and now streaming from a new set with new sponsors, new things going on. So if you're worried about Pat McAfee's job security, he still has his gig with WWE. It's on hiatus while he's doing football on College Game Day on Saturdays, and of course the radio show 5 days a week. But it does help if your show has issues. We're seeing a lot of things with technical issues for new shows. It all depends on the show. Alex Wagner's show, which is doing poorly on MSNBC, without Rachel Maddow literally to run her own show, had technical issues for a few days before they got that kicked off. And this one right here, Pat McAfee trying to move on to a new level, a new location, new place. and having the difficulties getting up and running. But now, up and running, finally, more Pat McAfee for your dome, your Thunderdome, if you will. Brett Favre talk show remaining. NFL fans don't approve. Oh, Brett Favre gets to stay on the Sirius XM radio. In fact, all the weekend, there was a lot of promotion for Brett Favre's show on stations that actually weren't the NFL stations. I listened to a bunch of the music stations and the talk stuff and some CNN over the weekend to catch up on the Queen and catch up on some information on Sirius XM satellite radio. That's what I listen to in the car. And there's a whole lot of promotion for Brett Favre's show. In fact, it's expanding. It's Tuesdays on NFL Network radio. And Brett Favre just kind of yaks with whoever he wants to field with because he's Brett Favre. Guess what? People realize Brett Favre's a jerk and they don't want to deal with it. So all the extra promotion he got after all the promotion he got for basically being a scumbag may have backfired, as many people are showing their anger and their vile repulsiveness for Brett Favre and actually don't want to hear him talk on Tuesday. So we'll see how the ratings work for Tuesday. Actually, we don't, because they don't actually promote ratings on the various channels on Sirius XM. But we'll see how much backlash we get from Brett Favre and his talk show on Tuesdays going forward. Chances are he's going to stay the season and more seasons to come because he's Brett Favre. Los Angeles mayor candidate Representative Karen Bass says she doesn't feel safe in city after burglary. We talked a few weeks ago about the fact that her home was burglarized, and not only that, but they stole her guns. She is now coming out as the mayor candidate for the city and a representative for the area in California. But she doesn't feel safe in the city of Los Angeles after burglary. Now, caveat on this one. This is a headline in the story link we gave you from Fox News. So Fox News is going to push the fact that the mayor of the likely mayor of Los Angeles doesn't feel safe in Los Angeles. So what does that mean? Because they have their spin on it, and it's there. There's legit talk on the fact that this is a scary situation, and she has a right to feel unsafe in her home right now because of what happened. But it also is a legit beef from Fox, just kind of owning the libs in this case. So take the headline with a grain of salt, read the story and take it with a grain of salt, and have an open mind and actually read the words, read between the lines, and kind of figure out for yourself how you feel about this here story. And wrapping up on grand news, that's not so grand. 68% of Disney World fans say the park, quote, lost its magic, says poll. Click the link for this one and get more details on the poll. People not exactly thrilled with Disney World or Disneyland itself, the Disney theme park and the theme park experience on top of everything. COVID-19, having to not have activities at these theme parks for a while kind of threw off the magic of continuity, and that makes it hard to keep things consistent. That's what we're seeing here in Disney World specifically, and this poll specifically for fans of the park that's saying the magic just isn't there right now. Let's go to our teaser story for maybe tomorrow. Today, we may talk about this tomorrow. And I'm not sure how I missed out on this. They didn't really get publicized till yesterday, so it's probably how I missed out on this. But the CEO of Beyond Meat was arrested for biting a man's nose near Razorback Stadium. I watched all of the Arkansas Razorback game versus Missouri State, the return of Bobby Petrino after 10 and a half years to Razorback Stadium, and the fact that he almost pulled off the upset against the number 10 team in the season. He almost pulled off the upset on his old team that fired him ceremoniously for the motorcycle incident, we'll just say right there. So props to Sam Pittman for getting his guys in gear and making things happen at the end of the thing. However, this thing apparently happened at the end of the thing after the game. The CEO of a actual company, COO, I should say, of an actual company, got into an altercation where he bit some dude's nose outside of a Razorback game. A team whose mascot is barbecue. Well, it's a pig, but you basically barbecue him up. Actual meat, if you will. Go through the stories, go through and go deeper into this story and see if it's something that you're interested in, something you want to chat up. You can make this happen by simply engaging with the story. Go to our feeds, which are on Facebook and on Twitter. And as you engage with it, we could talk about cannibalistic non-meat makers or something. This is conversationproject.com/Blinkist is where you'll find information on Blinkist. It is the way to get caught up on all the great books you're missing out on. I listen to audiobooks, regular books on Audible, and regular books on other places, and long form things on other places. So my time is spent a lot of time listening to things, and they take a lot of time to listen to. I'll tend to listen to books on Audible that are literally days long, 28-hour volumes of stuff, of just long type like histories and deep dives and stuff, because I like to listen to it. And yes, it takes forever to listen to them. But the cool thing about some of those books, nonfiction books, is there is a Blinkist version of them that gets straight to the point. Blinkist allows you to get things in about 15 minutes in most cases, and you can get the understanding of great books and great podcasts, nonfiction books, and popular podcasts in less than 15 minutes. Longer, some ones may take longer, but you get the gist on that one. You can read the blinks, or you can listen to the blinks as audio books as well. The blinks are essentially boiling down the main points of the books, main points of the stories, main points of what's going on into the meat, and less of the fluff, less of the audio mucky muck in the podcast, and less of the kind of deep sort of droll and monotone stuff in the books. Check it out at thisisaconversationproject.com/Blinkist. Get a full run of the full app. Check it out. And guess what? You get 2 for 1. Blinkist is offering you the chance to share your account with someone you love, or someone you hate, or just someone you kind of know. And so you can get the gist of Blink type stories, Blink type articles, Blink type reading with other folks. Share the gift of reading that you get yourself from Blinkist. Check it out at thisisaconversationproject.com/Blinkist. This is an affiliate link, so make sure you no, it's an affiliate link, but we want you to understand you're going to love it with the Blinkist app. I read a book every morning and every day on the way to work. If not, listen to the long form stuff, get a full book out because of Blinkist myself. Websites of note. This is a conversationproject.com main website. So check it out for all stuff us, and all stuff More Better Media, and all stuff things you might have heard, and all stuff old stuff. Check it out as well. The feeds are on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/thisisaconversationproject and Twitter.com/th_conversation. Every 50 minutes, we post a new story. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. Get into the groove. Yes, you want to move and get in your love to us and news stories. Let us know what stories to talk about in the engagement. More engagement give it, the higher it goes. Tuesday through Thursday, we take the top 15 stories out of the day's worth, about 30 to 33, 35. We had 33 stories a day posted. So we took top 15, picked about 11 of those, and shuffled them a little bit for a better story, if you will. On TikTok, find us at The Conversation Project. On YouTube and on the podcast version, just in case you're watching us on the Facebook version, or someone shared this with you, go to our website, click on the YouTube button, and subscribe, and make sure you get notifications, so you get notifications 5:50 a.m. Central when we go live. And the podcast version comes down about 10 minutes after we're done with the video. So in about 3 or 4 minutes, 10 minutes from then, the podcast version will be uploaded. You can get that in your feed for whenever you want to. More this, less this, if that's what you want. Today, things include birthdays on this September 20th. Happy birthday. Much, many candles, and much, many love. Sophia Loren turning 88 years old on the day. Gary Cole turning 66 years old on this day. And Aldous Hodge, 36. We're going with the seasoned actress and veteran actor, that's Gary Cole, who plays really creepy guys very well. And Aldous Hodge is doing a lot of stuff these days. He's in that show with Kevin Bacon. He's going to be Hawkman in the upcoming Black Adam. Of course, you know him from Leverage and things like that. He is doing very well for himself. And he got 36 years on the day today. Today, we're going to celebrate String Cheese Day, the fun and lovely snack that everyone loves. String cheese. You may not admit it. You may think you're too grown up for it. But everybody will take a piece of string cheese whenever handed to them. It's pretty much like a given. Let's go out on this one right here. A Washington Post advice columnist received this email. Is it ever okay for parents to take a long break? My husband and I have 2 toddlers in diapers and are totally exhausted. We have been talking about splurging on vacation for just the 2 of us and leaving the girls with a long-term sitter whom we would interview and vet very carefully, of course. I go between thinking this is the best idea we've ever had and worrying that it's selfish. The Washington Post columnist wasn't hip to the idea, reminding readers of a toddler who was left with grandma burning out. the child getting handed off twice and ended up with someone the parents don't even know. So make sure that you know who your kids are with, to be honest, especially if they are the toddler age. You got to understand that kids are a handful, and yes, you need to take care of your kids and deal with it until they get out of the house, and they still are handfuls and probably, mooch off of stuff. It is what it is. But this is bad advice. So said the comments that just handing them off to a long-term sitter for a long extended time, probably not a great idea, because even though this person is getting paid to take care of these toddlers, they're toddlers. And burnout is possible for all folks, unless they have a big wad of cash to pay on both the vacation and the 2 toddlers. This idea not basically frowned upon by the columnist from the Washington Post. I'm going to say we gave our kid to grandma a couple summers in a row when she was a toddler. And the scary thing was she came back looking like grandma every single summer. And it took basically, the full 11 months to unprogram her from grandma. So there's my warning to you. Today is not Monday, September 19th. It's actually Tuesday, September the 20th, because we hit the wrong key. We didn't copy that slide in the right spot. And we do that sometimes because this is a lot of work. This is a labor of love with a lot of labor into it. So there's plenty of places for us to mess up, but we do what we can to make things work out. Stop by our website, thisisconversationproject.com, for ways you can help us do better, ways you can get us a little more change in the kitty so we can hire folks like editors and producers and things like that to help keep things go forward. That would be great. The most important thing you do is to follow us on the feeds on Facebook and Twitter so you can vote up the story, so we have something to talk about. If you do that much, we'll see what we can do from there. And visit our sponsors, because that's the easiest way to make things happen. It costs you nothing extra to visit our sponsors. It's the same price, but we get a little bit for a finder's fee, if you will, what's going on. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Actual coffee today. Limber and on task, so you're here for the grand things you're here to be for. Thank you for stopping by and watching us, for people popped in live, and anybody who's going to watch this on the replay over the next gajillion years, assuming the Google and the Facebook don't go away. And thank you for just being you. We're out of here for today. Let's do it again tomorrow, shall we?